them in your home or love to see them in theirs. These are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm keeping it real. We are closing out 2020. This has been a hell of a ride, man.
I thought you were going to say it's been a hell of a day. Because it has been.
I wasn't going to go there.
Oh, I'm going there.
It's been a long day.
It's been a day.
It's been a year.
It's been quite the year. That's for sure.
Hasn't been a day, a week, a month, or even your year, 'cause...
And canceled.
Yeah. Copyright claim, and
yep,
we're done.
We're done.
It's
That's
been nice,
it, guys.
Rob ruined everything.
We're out. It's all on OnlyFans.
Yeah. That's the only place you can follow us.
Yeah. No, it's okay. 2020 has been quite the year. So we started the podcast in March? March or something like that. Yeah. But before we started, we got to have some fun before the last fun of 2020.
Before the vids.
Really, before the
COVIDs.
Before the COVIDs, yeah. So January was January. We kind of had, January. It's the breeding season.
That's
at
my
Nerd.
birthday,
So Rob was already having a great year.
I was. I actually did have a really good January. I had a really good birthday. I went to a party for my birthday. It was a good time.
That was pre-COVID. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, when you could get together with people and not get arrested for it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Or violently ill.
Yeah, or that too.
I was in LA for about a week doing some playing out in Anaheim and Van Nuys, and man, I wish I was back there where it's warm. I'll tell you that much. That's what kicked January off pretty darn swell for me, was 72.
Not being in the frozen tundra.
Yeah, exactly. So then February, we went down to Florida.
Yes. Carpet
Carpet Fest.
Nerd sponsored Carpet Fest.
That's right. And we got to meet and hang out with Savannah over at Gatorland.
Yeah.
And Will Mace.
That weekend didn't even seem real. Like it was
true.
just go the whole time, and just like all my favorite things. It was just all reptiles all weekend. So
yeah,
like, that's my shit.
That's my jam, bro.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. Everyone else, like most people in my life, they're like, we could do a little bit of reptile stuff. I'm like, that's all I want to do. I don't want to do anything else. That's it. When I went on vacation with my mom to Arizona, I spent every waking moment looking for reptiles. And she's like, you're not very fun to go on vacation with. And I was like, this is my first time in Arizona. I need to see some shit.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. So the Gatorland. Then we hung out with Will Mace.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome. Zoo Miami.
We need to do that again and like actually set aside some time for it, because
that day went way too quickly, especially because we
had to leave at 2 or something.
Yeah,
one or two
to be able to make our flight and all that stuff. So we didn't necessarily plan that part of the trip all that well, because we could have just flown out of Miami and stayed longer, but instead we had to drive back to Orlando, which was like 4 hours. So not totally well planned, but mistakes happen. Hey. So now we know. Yeah. Now we know.
We did get to see the really cool Daytona billboard.
We did. That is true. That is true for sure. And then the COVIDs hit.
Yeah.
And it became very depressing very quickly. But
and people were like, hey, has your job been affected? And I was like, honestly, not all that much.
Job security.
Yeah, this year was crazy. When people got their quote unquote COVID check, a lot of people bought reptiles. I'm not gonna lie.
That's
a lot of
true.
people went out there and used that money to buy reptiles. So we sold a lot of reptiles.
We did sell a lot of
reptiles.
reptiles.
Around then. And honestly, most of my job is not dealing with the public. Like, we stopped doing tours right as soon as COVID, as soon as they were like, hey, you might not want to do that. We shut down our tours pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't dealing with the public anymore on a weekly basis. Most of my job was just photographing stuff and working online, and occasionally working with animals, but mostly photographing things and doing website stuff.
Wait, you mean your job isn't just playing with animals all day?
No, I wish it was.
I heard that's what your job was, dude.
Listen here.
So end of March, we start Reptile Talk.
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That is wild.
Because it's almost a year.
It's almost been a year.
It's almost been a year. So for those of you who might be new listeners, this might be your first time listening, or you've listened to a couple random podcasts along the way. The Reptile Talk podcast was something that I had done 7-ish years ago with Steve Tillis down in Florida. And then the only reason we stopped was because of life. He and I both went to college. Matter of fact, he's still in college getting his doctorate while I'm over here a music college dropout. But, we're crushing it. But so we ended up putting things on hold, and then life really got away from us. So when I started working at Nerd, I was like, not that I have a whole lot of free time, but I was like, man, like it would be really cool to start this podcast back up and see where we could get it, because 7-8 years ago, podcasting really, it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Really, and especially in the reptile community, there was like reptile radio.
Yeah,
and like that was basically it. Maybe one or two others. Yeah, but that was basically about it. So the competition was immediately steep because we had these people who were either already doing it or they had a solid audience because they had a little bit of a following themselves when they started it. So people just started to listen. So then trying to interject anywhere in that was fairly difficult. The one thing that Steve and I had going for us back then was he had just started working with Eugene Bissett. And I had some pretty decent connections to some larger reptile breeders in the Northeast. So we figured, hey, let's talk to these people. Like we're still young, we're still learning. Like it's cool that we know these people. Let's get them on the line. Let's ask them some questions. We'll learn some things ourselves. But we can also share this knowledge when most of these guys weren't doing any sort of social media. And social media wasn't nearly as popular in the industry as it was now. So it was just another source to gain some knowledge from people you might not even know exist. You still might not even know that they exist even with social media because they're not on social media all that much. But anyway, so I wanted to start up the podcast again, and I had reached out to Steve and I was like, hey dude, what do you think about this? And he was like, I think it's a great idea. He's like, but I can't commit. I'm still trying to get my doctorate and it's just not the right time. And I was like, well, I started this podcast with you, but I definitely want to start it back up. Do you mind if I kind of take it over and go from there? And he's like, yeah, no, that's totally fine. And then I was like, man, like it certainly is easier to do something like this with somebody. So I was like, I wonder if Rob would want to do it. And I brought it to Rob, and he was like, "Oh yeah, dude, let's go, let's do it." So which makes life totally easier. And also you get to avoid that. Yeah, you weren't necessarily the first person I asked, but you close second or third.
Tell the second person.
Oh no,
I was definitely the third person.
Yeah, he was, but he was happy about it.
I was excited. So. I was like, hey, you know what they say about third place? They still got a medal.
Amazing. That's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. No, so I was super stoked that Rob was on board. And then it was like, okay, well, who do we know that we can get on here? Who do we want to talk to? And we kicked it off, like right away we kicked it off with a blast with Scott Borden. And that was awesome. So Scott's a long-time reptile keeper, basically lifelong reptile keeper. And he's got some amazing experiences to talk about, from field herping experiences to what he keeps and everything. And it was just awesome to talk to him. Yes. He's a great guy overall. And then we had Steve on after that, and it was great to talk with him and learn about what he's been doing. He's obviously doing a lot of research on nidovirus and
so
stuff at the University of Florida, and yeah.
Dude, as we've stayed in contact with him, so much has changed since that episode. So
Yeah.
we're definitely gonna have to do a repeat episode soon.
With him.
With
Yeah. I was
him.
talking with him about it, and he's game to do it. We just got to figure it out. So, which
He's
means
gotta
I got to figure
study.
this out.
He's got to
So,
study.
yeah.
Study, Steve.
That's right.
Study.
You got to be prepared. We're coming in hot.
I think one of the things that I really am enjoying about Reptile Talk is it gives the audience, it gives the people who are listening right now, the ability or the insight into some of these people that you might not have known before. Because like a lot of people are like, I'm not really a people person. But the thing that is bringing us all together, the thing that is getting us, through all of this is, working with your own animals, but then connecting with people who are also interested in some of the things that you're interested in.
Yeah.
And like I was listening to NPR and they were talking about, when you hear someone that's jazzed up about a certain species, it's hard to not get excited about that. And they were like, that has swayed some of my keeping sometimes. I'll like get something and I'll, because I'm so jazzed about, talking to this person for a couple hours on the podcast that I just want to get it and see what all the hype is about.
Yep.
And I think that is going to be a great resource for people to, you may learn about a new species that you didn't really know a lot about before, but just getting that connection of the people and learning more about the different people that share this hobby with us, because if they ever start doing expos again, hopefully, knock on wood, Tinley, something, please. When they start doing expos again, it's one thing to see someone on Facebook and to, see some of their posts or some animals that they post and stuff like that. But it's a different thing to kind of hear them talk about the things that they're interested in, hear them mention, oh, I like this thing because it does this certain thing that I really like, and it just intrigues me about them. And when you go to talk to them at a show or you go to meet them, having that kindred thing of like, oh man, I really enjoyed listening to you talk about this or describing this, or I've had people who are like, oh, the corrugated tubing trick that you were talking about in this episode, I started doing that and my snakes love it, and I can't believe that I went without it. And it's all about learning. Like, this whole hobby is about learning. Whether you're day one and you just picked up a reptile and this is your first foray into listening to reptile podcasts, or whether you have been keeping reptiles your whole life and you're learning new things about species that you might not have been interested about. Like, there's some people who have been like snake keepers their whole life, and then all of a sudden they see a cool ass, chocolate harlequin crested gecko, and they're like, oh damn, that thing is insane. I need to get one of those.
Yeah.
And they're learning a whole new different world. And that's one of the things that I like about Reptile Talk a lot, is that getting that sampling of different kinds of people who keep different kinds of things, you get a feel for what the type of variety is out there. I mean, I'm working 2021. I really, really, really want to get some like dart frog people on. I want to talk to some people who do micro geckos. I want to see if we can reach out to like Josh's Frogs and those guys and see if we can get some of them on to talk about some of the stuff that they're doing with the amphibians. Because I do not have a huge wealth of knowledge when it comes to amphibians. I mean, I've worked with some, but I would definitely like to learn more. And that's like a whole different part of the hobby that's like separate and really pushing the envelope when it comes to advancement. Like, if you look at some of the things that the dart frog community is using, they're using a lot of the same things that the fish community is using when it comes to lighting and looking at different, testing their water and all this different stuff to make sure, because frogs and amphibians can be so much more sensitive to all the different things going on in their environment. So for 2021, I want to get some arachnid keepers on. I've already got a couple people in mind. I want to get some amphibian keepers on. I want to talk to more lizard people who, work with lizard. We got to do some repeat episodes. We got to get Josh on to talk about his tegus.
Yes. I'm mad we did a whole episode with him and like we didn't even really talk about tegus. Yeah. He's like, yeah, I got tegus.
He's like, by the way, I have like 80 tegus.
Yeah, exactly.
Adult breeder tegus.
Yeah.
I really want to reach out to people like Graham Battison. I want to talk about the zoo project that he's working on, or like the reptile park program that he's working on. I want to reach out to Ty Park. I want to talk about Iguana Land and see the things that he's doing, because man, there is so many things that are just popping off right now in the reptile community. There's so many things that are just starting to happen. And people look at the reptile hobby like, oh, it's been around forever, blah, blah, blah,
But it really
it's whatever.
hasn't been.
But it really hasn't been. If you look at some of the other hobbies that have been going on in the country, we're really just starting to get into our stride when it comes to reptiles, because for a lot of the first, quantity of time of keeping reptiles, people were like, yeah, we can kind of keep them alive a little bit. And then, but periodically people would get successful, or lucky at breeding things.
Mm.
But now we are just really dialing it in when it comes to learning how to keep these animals happy and to keep them well, to the point where they are thriving in captivity, and people are really pushing to see what that next step is. So I think that right now it's like a really exciting time to be keeping reptiles, whether you keep a ball python or one bearded dragon or a small collection of boas, or you have a bunch of oddball stuff and you keep, Susties and Spilotes and all sorts of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very exciting time for everyone, but there's still so much to learn. And as we're sharing information on forums, on Facebook, on, here or there, wherever, that dissemination of information is leading to huge leaps and bounds when it comes to what we collectively know as a hobby. So 2021, I'm like super pumped to try and just push that envelope more for us,
Mm-hmm.
for Reptile Talk, for you guys who are listening to us right now. We really want to bring you a huge variety. So if you might not have experience working with arachnids, you might get to listen to somebody who's, kept arachnids their whole life or has 1,000. I really want to get Tom Patterson on. He's awesome. And he's got a basement full of just crazy invertebrates, like giant Vietnamese centipedes, house centipedes. Look them up. They're terrifying. And
No.
but he's got them, and I really want to bring that to the table, because I feel like we've already set a really cool precedent for Reptile Talk through this first, we're not at a year full of episodes yet, but for the rest of 2020, that year that we started, we've got a lot of really cool stuff on board right now, and I'm really looking forward to the future to see what else we're gonna do, because I sense some cool stuff about to happen.
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited about what's to come. I mean, we've certainly had a whole list of amazing people talk with us already, with some vast experience ranging quite the gambit of keeping. So I'm definitely excited about being able to expand on that. I definitely, as you were saying, arachnid keepers and amphibian keepers, I think those are some key spots to hit, as well as those repeat episodes. I know we're still owed some bar check time, so that is going to happen, as well as I want to get a few other carpet python guys on, like Nick Mutton and Mike Curtin.
Mike Curtin, hell yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun. Just also because I've known those guys for a while. They're great people. They're wonderful people. They're always great to talk to. And of course, like you were saying, like repeat episodes, we're definitely going to have Steve
Tillis on. We got to talk about nidovirus.
Yep. And the advancements of that. Did you know that he created an app for his own collection?
It doesn't surprise me,
dude.
At all.
He posted it on his Instagram story, and I was like, "You motherfucker! What are you doing? What? How do you? Why? Your collection's not that big." And he's like, "Oh, it's just like reminders and blah 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 blah." He's like, "I've been keeping a collection this size for long enough to know on average when I need to replace this or when I need to reorder bedding or blah blah blah." So this app is basically I can log all that data, Mr. Frickin' Data, in there. And then my phone basically will send me these reminders and push notifications about needing this, or now it's time to do this, or hey, don't forget to order this. It's probably about time you did so. And I was like, that would be amazing. You essentially created an assistant on your phone.
A digital assistant.
A digital assistant. How wonderful
BlackBerry.
is that, Steve Tillis? You wonderful human being.
We need to have him on again.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen for sure. There's some ball python guys I want to get on just because it's fun talking genetics and interesting fun stuff. So I've talked briefly with Ozzy over at Aussie Boys and Billy at Mutation Creation about getting those guys on. Hopefully we can get Justin Kabelka as well.
He's a great guy.
He is a really good guy.
Such a nice
He's a very
person.
good guy. I'm excited. So I have to go down to Atlanta for some session work and
for music work is what you're
for
saying.
music work. Yep. And yeah. I guess depending on what your thought of session is, oof. If you don't already know, I do music. Oh boy. For some music work, and I have a day of essentially not really doing anything. So I'm hoping while I'm down in that area, I can actually get with Justin. So I need to reach out and see if I can make that happen, because that would be kind of cool to go check out his place, and then I can talk to him in person and be like, listen, man, I need you on this podcast. But yeah, so that should be pretty sweet. We've also hit a solid milestone on our Instagram. We've surpassed 1,000 followers. Thank you guys so much for all of that support.
Appreciate that.
That's pretty freaking awesome. And you guys are awesome for sharing those posts we're putting up of the different guests. We're a little backlogged. We got a bunch of posts to make for some previous episodes. But yeah, every time you guys share that, and then somebody's like, "Oh, what's this podcast about?" It's wonderful. And speaking of people listening to the podcast, we've had over 20,000 downloads.
Holy moly!
Worldwide.
In what's that? 7 months?
In 9 months.
9 months.
9 months.
I can't count.
It's okay. It's all right.
Sorry, it's been a long day.
There's only 10 months in a year.
It's been a long day.
No, it's absolutely wonderful. I don't know actually. While we're here talking about it, I'll see if I can actually pull it up so I can give you guys an exact number, because it's wonderful.
As of December 30th, 2020.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Are we ready for this number? Oh, it's going to make me log in.
Oh.
I never log out. It's going to make me log in. Sorry, guys. The suspense.
We'll edit this out.
The suspense. No, we won't.
Why? No, Jeremy.
I like this.
No.
I like this bizarre suspense. All right, here we go. All time. Over 23,300 downloads since we started back in March of this year.
And it was the end of March.
So it's the end of March. Yeah, exactly. It's the last week of March.
Wow.
So that's pretty freaking awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely wonderful.
And it was like a bunch of different countries too. Like I'm amazed at the reach that we've had. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, all the way from obviously here in the U.S., but to the UK, Canada, Sweden, Australia, Germany, South Africa. I mean, everywhere. It's Japan, New Zealand. I mean,
Mexico,
Spain. It's amazing. It's amazing. So we cannot thank you guys enough for that amazing support. So
and for all the people who have left us reviews. Me and Jeremy were actually going through yesterday and reading reviews on Apple Podcasts, because that's the most viewed place for reviews for podcasts.
Yep, that's true.
But we were going through and reading those, and we appreciate all the feedback that everyone's given us, and we are working to make this the best.
That's right.
The best Reptile Talk podcast that it can be.
Yep. And also kind of in line with cool things to note, if this will load on my phone. It's taking its sweet time. This will edit out. This will edit out. Yeah, this we can certainly edit out. Maybe. We're in the top 50 for nature podcasts in the US.
That's pretty cool.
Which is pretty awesome, man, when you think about it. I mean, I don't listen to too many podcasts.
I do.
Personally. That's just me. When I finally get the chance to, I'm all into it, and I'm like, yeah, okay, this is great. But taking that first step is quite difficult for me to actually do, because usually I get into whatever I'm doing and I just start doing it, and I don't think about, oh, you should listen to something or whatever, make the time go by faster. But that was actually pretty freaking sweet. So, thank you guys for really all of that support. I don't know how many nature podcasts there are. Watch, there's only 50. But I don't know how many nature podcasts there are in the U.S., but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It is definitely pretty cool. So it's been, the first 9 months of this have been pretty freaking amazing. So
I'm very humbled
yeah.
by the reach that we've got on this podcast, and I'm very enthusiastic, like I said, about the future, man. I think that it just, for the things that we have got planned, I'm super excited to start doing it. Like for January, we're going to be doing a bunch of episodes of just Jeremy and I.
Because you guys asked for it.
Yeah, because you guys asked for it. So we've got a couple different episodes planned already. I'm really excited about a couple of them. The ones that I told you about earlier.
Yeah.
I'm excited for those.
Yeah, the ones that are his ideas. The ones that are my ideas, he's not as excited about.
I am also excited about those. But I am really excited for the ones I came up with. I was just sitting up at night and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a really good episode. This is going to be, this is going to be a resource episode where people can share this with other people. And even if you don't listen to any of our other episodes, a couple of the episodes we have planned for January are going to be ones that you might want to share with someone and, say, hey, just listen to this. If you have any questions about what's going on in the political climate as far as reptiles go, listen to this episode.
Yeah.
This is why it's important to join USARC. This is why you should join a reptile herp society in your area. And I'm super excited to start recording on those. So probably in the next week or two, we're going to get those nailed out and we'll be.
For sure. And thinking about that makes me want to reach out to Phil over at USARC and see if we can get him on. I've known Phil for quite some time.
Let's see, I've known him for a little while now.
Yeah, so I think I can probably give him a call and see if that's something that we could work out. Because he would probably be one of the hardest people to nail down just because of his work schedule.
Yeah.
He's always on the ground working to protect our rights, both state by state and federally. So massive kudos as always to USARC for everything that they do. But if we get the chance to get Phil on, I think for 2020, that would actually be
2021
or 2021. I'm sorry. That would actually be really, really awesome. Get a little bit of insight of what it's like, because if you see, if you are already following USARC and you see those laws that go up, like there's so much of that mumbo jumbo, the vernacular of legal BS. Yeah. And just be like, well, what does that mean? Like, I don't understand why. I'm like, to be able to get a little bit of clarity and be able to decipher that a little bit easier. I think that would be very helpful, as well as getting some insight from him, what you can do as a keeper, a general keeper, to reach out to your state congress people, senators, all that stuff, and maintain that open dialogue with them and have that healthy relationship with them about dealing with stuff like this, because it's unfortunately it's inevitable these days that we deal with some sort of legislation on some level. So yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. Now I'm excited about that. 2021, guys.
And then, I had a crazy breeding year in 2020, so I produced a lot of snakes this year, and
how many of those you holding back?
A lot of holdbacks. I got a lot of holdbacks. I was actually looking at some of them, and I was like, "Do I really need? Yeah, I need to hold that back." I think there's one that I put as a holdback, and I'm like, maybe I'll sell you, but it's a girl, so I'm like, why? Why would I do that? It's got the skunk trait, and I'm like, I'll keep it.
I can't say much because I didn't produce crap this year because of having to move stuff around.
But
what I did produce
season is looking nice.
It's looking very nice. But also what I did produce in 2020, I was like, I only need this and this. That's the only things I want. But then landed that crazy pastel GHI Coral Glow Paradox, and then a female Coral Glow from my male maker. So I was like,
you have to go check out Jeremy's Instagram and look at that
see
Paradox,
because that thing is he's smoking.
He is so cool.
Yeah, he's freaking smoking. So that I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I should keep that. Oh yeah, I'll probably keep that too. Oh yeah, why not?
So Jeremy, I'm placing my arm around Jeremy right now.
Yeah.
So Jeremy, How many holdbacks did you end up with this year?
Let's not talk about this, bro. Because whatever my number is, your number is far larger.
3 times more than that. Yeah. Oof.
I mean, but I also have I had a lot of holdbacks in the 2019 season.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Makes
you
up
know,
for it.
it's
and I didn't
it's
really
whatever.
breed anything.
Yeah.
In 2019.
Yeah. So, but this year I am super excited. I've got ball pythons are breeding like crazy right now for me, which is wonderful, and it's shaping up to be, from what I'm already seeing, a very fast-paced season for the ball pythons. Like they're moving very quickly in that direction, which is wonderful. So I'm actually very happy about that. And fingers crossed for some good carpet python action this year. It's looking like we're moving in the right direction for that too, and some retic stuff. And then one day Rob's gonna bring male Borneo over.
I am
to breed with the girls I got here, and we'll do that. And let's see, what am I missing? Breeding wise, I think that might be it this year. Yeah, I think that might be it this year. And then the following year there'll be even more, and then even more, and then even more. But more. So yeah, so I'm really excited about this year.
This year, I'm not going crazy. I've got females who are like, breed me. And I'm like, I'm not breeding you. No, stop it. Don't look at me like that. I got the marble pair that I'm going to do again because those babies came out fire.
Insane.
And that was her first year reproducing. So there was like only 13 babies and I had to split them with Dan Magano. So I only ended up with like a small amount of babies, 7 or something.
Yeah.
6 or 7. So I kept almost all of those. And there was some crazy stuff that hatched out of that clutch. But we're going to repeat that pairing again. I've got Dan's male up. We've been breeding. I've already got locks and stuff out of them. I'm going to try breeding the scrub pythons this year. We'll see what happens with that. If they don't breed, whatever. I still got scrub pythons. If they do breed, that's cool. But that's most of my focus this year is just trying to see if I can dial in those scrubs and get a clutch of barn X on the ground because that would be nice.
For sure.
And then I might breed that jumbo jag female.
That'd be cool.
She's old enough. She's 5 years old and
plenty.
She's 4.5 foot long. So I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go crazy on the carpet pythons because, like I said, carpets aren't really my thing. I mean, she's a smoking carpet python.
She definitely is.
I don't know. I don't feel the need to produce a ton of stuff. I'm just like really looking at all my holdbacks. I'm like, I'm just gonna grow you.
For sure, man.
But I'm more looking forward to 2 seasons from now or 3 seasons from now, the stuff that I'll be making then. I got some cool stuff lined up, and I'm just really I think it'll be cool.
Yeah.
And I never set out to be, I wanted to work with reptiles. I didn't really care what capacity it was in. Like, it'd be cool to be a breeder, and I've definitely bred a ton of stuff. But I don't really look at myself as someone who's just like, yeah, I'm going to pump out 800 snakes this year. Like last year I produced 70 snakes or something, 80 snakes, and I was like, okay, whoa, hold on.
I got a lot of snakes.
Here. Yeah, maybe,
a lot of snakes.
Maybe I don't want to do that, especially where I want to keep them all. I'm like, I can't keep 80 new snakes. What is that?
Sure you can. They didn't cost you nothing.
I mean, kinda.
Yeah.
But I definitely am looking more at just kind of doing, maybe a couple clutches a year, just enjoy the stuff that I got. I do have some special projects that I do have like intentions on really taking it in a direction, but most of my stuff I really just want to do it because I like it. I just, if I don't sell them, I'm fine with keeping them. Like all those Borneos this year, I was like, if they don't sell, it's fine. I'll just, I got some cool ass Borneos.
There
man.
you go.
I just love them. And then I got, this year I got corn snakes, which is wild to me because if you had told me that 5 years ago that I was going to be keeping corn snakes, I probably would have laughed at you hysterically. Like I probably would have fell over laughing.
But here you are.
And here I am with several corn snakes now.
Yeah, several corn snakes later.
I really want to get a palmetto. I just love the way they look. If you haven't seen a palmetto corn snake, you should Google them.
Google that.
Because they're like an all-white corn snake, and they got like orange, red, and gray spots on them, and they're just gorgeous.
They're pretty unique.
It's like a cowratic, but a corn snake. it's just so nice, and I just like, I don't need to buy one right now. I mean, stimulus check, no, can't buy it.
Yeah, right.
Not palmetto corn, not for that. And so, I mean, if you that's something new for 2020 is I picked up those corn snakes. I'm just like, man, I'm actually really enjoying them. They grow really fast.
They do grow very quickly. Yeah.
Silly.
Yep. It's the colubrid metabolism, the way they process food and grow. The poop is annoying. The poop is very annoying. But the way they process food and grow, I mean, it's insane. Mm-hmm. It definitely is pretty insane. 2020 was
what
a
new
colubrid.
Project did you get?
Well, it was a colubrid heavy year. I got a lot of new projects. Like, holy crap. I got into some species I haven't kept in many years. Which is cool. It actually brought back some nostalgia for me, which was pretty awesome. A lot of colubrids. So I started just with the Mex thing, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. I've actually never worked with the San Luis Potosi king snakes, so I was like, this should be interesting, and quickly fell in love with them, and then acquired a large number of them. Well, large to the general standard. Like 8 or so. Just
no big deal.
Encroaching on double digits.
Yeah.
The black and white Cal King stuff was another one. I kept and bred Cal Kings many years ago, and this is just going to be another fun iteration of that. This time I'm really not necessarily focusing on morphs so much as just the polygenic black and white and striped black and white animals. So I'm pretty excited about that. And corn snakes also got back into corns. I did get my hands on a palmetto and some scaleless stuff and some tessera stuff and some blood red stuff and what? The coral, yes. Oh my gosh, the coral ghost stuff. I'm really geeking out about those. Shout out to my buddy Blake over at Blake's Exotic Reptiles for hooking me up with these two insanely pink.
So here's the deal. If you are not in the area and you've not been able to visit Jeremy's place, you cannot appreciate these snakes.
It's true. You can't pick it up on film.
The color does not come out on film or photo. It just does not. Like, I really want to get it under the really nice camera at Nerd and see if we can kind of maybe get some close. Of those tones, because literally when we were on the live stream that we did on the Reptile Talk Instagram, we put it up to the thing and it looks gray, and you're like, oh, this thing is
like gray and like peachy, like dull peachy
pink,
they're really silly. So we got a coral ghost tessera male and then just a coral ghost female. They're both for various things, but every shed is just more pink and more pink and more pink and more pink. So I'm really, and it's even better that they're non-related, which is wonderful. So, essentially when it comes to these like polygenically line-bred traits, you're breeding the most pink animals to the most pink animals to the most pink animals to the most pink animals, etc. And usually there's a generation or two of inbreeding, so that you can kind of get this happening, and then you'd outcross it if you have enough stock and go from there. So these two are kind of like my founding group. I'll have probably quite a few holdbacks initially. Oh yeah, it's gonna happen. I already know. Because right out of the egg, you might be able to see like a little pink, but you gotta wait for a few sheds for the pink to really start to come in. And the way these animals look now, and they're nowhere close to full grown, they're gonna be insane adults. So I mean, maybe you can see the pink right out of the egg for these guys. Who the hell's gonna know? It's something I'm very excited about. So that was a fun project. Another really fun project that I dove into heavy as hell.
Oh my god!
This
I already
year
know what you're gonna say.
Is the Amazon tree boas. I kept Amazons 10 or 12 plus years ago in various stages. My first pair that I ever got were just some garden phase animals, and I thought they were the coolest, evilest little twigs that you could ever have. And I remember having them set up in this amazing enclosure and everything, and I absolutely loved them. Then they had they were all wild caught basically at that point. So nobody's captive breeding them. So I don't know how old they were, but they ended up passing. I assume old age because they were not small animals at all. And I got my hands on some others, and those were the first ones I ever bred. And that was like a weird yellow patterned animal to like a yellowy greenish weird looking female. If I can find pictures of her, I'll have to dig them out somewhere because she was a very bizarre looking Amazon, and that litter made no sense. It was basically all yellow patterned animals. So I mean, I don't know. I didn't keep track of where those babies went, so I don't know what they ever ended up really looking like.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting litter. So after that, I never really kept them. I ended up like selling that whole project because it wasn't necessarily anything that really piqued my interest. Nobody was really doing anything with them. And I wasn't really super invested in any of the forums or groups back then. So I didn't know that anybody was doing anything with reds or any of that. Had I known that, I would be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be a much different time for me now. But yeah, 2 years ago, I got my first one after many years of not keeping at Northeast Carpet Fest, and it was actually produced by Keith McPeak, and I love that snake. It was originally a patternless orange neonate, and now it has turned into a very interesting bicolor animal. So it definitely intrigued me. And then the second one I ended up picking up was one that Rob produced through Nerd. We had some They had some Amazons that were just down there, and Rob was like, "Oh, let's breed these things," and he did.
Bred Amazons before, and I was like, "This is a pair. This female's loaded up. She's like full. Let's breed them." And I was like, "Yep, I bred them."
Yep, there we go.
I mean, I've already bred them before, so it was just like, "Hey, let's make some babies for the store."
Yeah,
hey, I did it.
There you go.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Yeah. I made 2 litters of Amazons that year.
Yeah. So that was cool. I got that little guy, and then I've amassed a very large collection of them. I think like 15 or 16.
Don't count.
That's why I said 15 or 16. I don't have an exact
like
number.
Some number.
It
over
could be
10
more.
And less than 25.
Yes, that's certainly more accurate. And I'm really excited about that. So I think if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen pictures of Hellboy. Which was the first like really red animal that I had gotten, and now I have recently gotten another red calico animal.
It's more red than the other.
That is more red than Hellboy, and I think Red Devil is going to be his name.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm going because he's very red and also full of hate. So I think Red Devil is.
Call him Scorpion.
Scorpion?
Yeah, that hybrid pepper that's like the hottest pepper on the planet.
Oh man.
Or is it Pepper X?
I don't know. You find
Scorpion pepper is a really hot pepper, though.
Okay. Well, you find out and get back to me, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But so I'm super excited about that. I've also got a pretty badass, really red bicolor female that I'm interested to throw them to. Hellboy will be ready to go a season before this other male, so I can actually check them out against each other, what they're going to produce offspring-wise with that. I've got some yellow stuff and some bicolor stuff that I'm growing up as well, and then just some really interesting patterned animals as well. So Amazons are looking pretty bright. I should have I've got 1 more year of growing most of those things out before they're ready to go. So not this season, but the following season should be pretty interesting for Amazon. So I'm pretty excited about breeding those again.
It's going to be really cool.
Yeah. I'm very excited. Rob might get a lot of Amazon tree boas.
Hey, I like Amazon tree boas. So I am fine with that.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot, dude.
What?
There's just a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I got this year. I've been trying not to go ham buying stuff this year. I really...
I don't know what that's like.
Honestly, what I've been trying to do is I've been trying to pick up more caging.
That's fair, yeah.
Because I really want to upgrade everything when I get the new place and really set everything up how I want them to be set up. So I invested some new racks, some new cages, blah blah blah, all that stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. And then as I'm thinking in the next 2 to 3 years, I really want to like push that envelope when it comes to just setting up a really nice reptile room for my stuff and just keeping it how I am envisioning it to be.
Yeah. That's I was thinking the other day, because we've talked about like my plans for
Yes.
what I want to do, and I definitely had to have a moment with myself where I was like, is that really
What you want.
where I want to get to? Because it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It was definitely a lot. It's basically doubling, near tripling what my collection is at right now, which is a large number of animals.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So I really had to kind of have that moment with myself and realize that that's not exactly where I want to go, which is cool. So it means I can save a little bit of energy, time, space, and money.
Yeah. Insanity.
Insanity. Yeah, exactly. I think one of the biggest areas of expansion, I guess, for me would be on the carpets, the Borneos, and then the colubrids. Because out of everything that I keep, the colubrids are probably the least space intensive. You know, because I mean, it's not like I'm keeping tiger rats or puffing snakes or anything that really does require a lot of space. It's mostly stuff that fits in racks very easily. Cow kings, milk snake species, and all that kind of stuff. So a 32 quart rack is pretty much perfect for an adult. So that's a little bit easier to maintain. But having all the colubrids I do now has brought back a lot of awesome memories from working with colubrids in the past. And I'm like, man, working with colubrids were probably some of the coolest points in my younger years of keeping. And I really liked that. Especially like I just did that whole blast on my Instagram of like throwback photos.
Yes.
And like I used to have a whole wall in my old reptile room that was just colubrids. It was probably like 50 plus colubrids. And and that was everything, dude. I had Pueblo milk snakes, Nelson's milk snakes, Honduran milk snakes, Cal kings. I think I had Mexican black kings too. I had Chrysopelia, flying snakes. The flying snakes. I had a bunch of stuff back then, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So kind of getting back into the colubrid thing has really reignited that flame for me. And so colubrids just kind of as a whole, not necessarily any particular species. I think I will have some expansion there. And the carpets and the Borneos is really just from that element of you never know what you're going to produce, so the chances are you're going to want to hold something back, you know. But I'm also very, very willing to cap myself and be like, look, this is the max. It's hard for me to
heard
say
it
that.
here first.
Yeah, you did hear it. You did hear it. I have understood that. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, and you might have to punch me. But I can.
It's okay. Well, if you get too full up on Borneos, you can just send them over to me.
See, look at that. You heard it here, folks. I can unload all the Borneos to Rob. But yeah, I kind of have some ideas of where I really want to take those projects. So it ideally will help me narrow things down. And then the rest I can just send to you. And then when they get a year and a half, I'm like, I'm just going to take that one back. Thanks, bro. Thanks for raising that up for me, bud. I appreciate it.
I love Borneos. I also love raising things. Like,
yeah. Here, Rob, feed that.
When I was younger, like some of my friends had like snakes and stuff. And they were like, if you ever want to like grow something, just send it to Rob. Because he always just like, I was always very consistent with my feedings and just like making sure that the thing ate and grew and did well. And so like, they're like, oh, I've got a snake that's kind of tiny. I was like, oh, don't worry.
Don't worry. I got you, bro.
I got you. I've definitely gotten more conservative on my feeding since then. But still, I like watching them grow. Like my Borneos, my babies I produced this year have gone through like 2 or 3 sheds now. And I'm just like, oh, you're so cool. Every time I take them out, I'm like, oh, look at this
so awesome.
thing. It's so amazing.
Yep.
And then you get the one that's like, don't touch me. Just like flaps
flailing,
its body
losing
all
its
over the
shit.
place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just hold
okay,
it. I'm
buddy.
like, it's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. I just have a way with
man.
them. Most of them like me. Every
Most
now
of
and
them.
again.
Yeah. You know, sort of.
There's one that doesn't like me.
The little garble mail that I have from you is he's great.
80% of the time.
60% of the time. And you can tell like he'll be good for like the first 2 minutes you have him out.
And then you see the little
and then you see that the tip of the tongue come out,
stick
and you get that and you're like, oh, here it goes.
Here it goes.
Here it goes. And I just by that as soon as I see just the tip of the tongue, I try to put him right over the cart in the
So,
room,
wing
because it's
right
like if he's
onto
gonna flail and fall, if I miss grabbing him, then at least he's falling right on the cart, right under my hand, versus
Yeah.
dropping all the way down to the floor and being even more upset. But yeah, there's some coolness.
Hmm.
There's definitely some coolness ahead of the game.
Yeah, man.
I'm pretty excited. I'm excited for what's to come with Reptile Talk, with what we've got going on with projects, and more.
Big changes coming in the future.
Yeah, 2021 is going to be a very interesting year.
You know, it's crazy. The last like 5 years, I've been telling everyone, I've been saying it and like posting on social media. I was like, 2020 is going to be the year that everything becomes clear. Like, it's going to be the year that all of the visions and views that you had, or that you know that I had, that everything is going to become clear for what the future is going to be, what it's going to look like, and what direction you're going to push things in. If you're paying attention, 2020 is going to clear that up for you. And I can 1000% say that 2020 did exactly that. It has shown me exactly what I want, exactly what I don't want, and it's definitely made almost everything clear when it comes to, you know, what I want to be, what my role in this hobby should be, and what I think that I can and should do when it comes to reptiles. Because, you know, not everybody, but a lot of people, like, you know, they're like, oh my God, like, I just want to have this giant I just want to do this. I just want to do that. I just want to do this thing. And the idea, the thought of doing those things and then actually doing them are two completely different planets. It's a different solar system than what you think it is. Because there's all these things that you're like, okay, I know that raising baby snakes, that I have to feed them every week. I know I have to clean them every week. I know I got to do this. I know I got to do that. And those are things that you know that you're okay with doing. And then when it comes down to actually doing it, you might get a baby that's born with a severe kink in its back and you have to euthanize it. You might end up with a baby with a tongue that doesn't come out right, and you know something you didn't notice right away, and then a customer gets all angry at you because it wasn't absolutely perfect and one scale was folded, whatever. But like, these things that you don't think about, there's no way for you to anticipate them. They'll test you. They will definitely put you through your paces to see if this is actually what you want. And 2020 has been a very eye-opening year for me to see, what exactly my role is. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how far I can go into the direction that I'm looking in, because I see really cool things for my future. I see really cool things for the podcast. I see just all this potential, and I've learned a lot, not just in the last year, but especially in the last year. 2020 has taught me so much, and it's been a rough year. COVID has definitely put a nix in a bunch of my plans. It's definitely ruined some travel plans that I was hoping to do. It's ruined expos for the ones that I was hoping to attend, and it's definitely been challenging for everybody. I mean, and especially for me, it's been very challenging. But I feel like with those challenges comes knowledge, and if you are learning from your challenges and the things that are your roadblocks, the things that are not easy for you, if you're learning from them, then it's not wasted time. Because our goal, my goal, everyone's goal in this should be to learn something new. Every day I try to learn something new every single day. If there's a day where I don't learn something new, I almost consider it a wasted day, because there is so much knowledge out there that we're just tapping into, and there's so much potential for us to all learn and grow and get to that space where we want to be. And I feel like if you've been paying attention through 2020, it'll definitely have taught you where you want to be. and,
100%.
and where you can be.
Yeah, bro. That's real. Did anybody else want to do a slow clap there?
Bum, 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 bum. More copyright
Oh, man.
claims. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Rob's just messing it up. No,
I'm sorry. I just like brought the whole mood down a little bit.
no, it's cool, man. I think that's real, dude. I mean, if you've taken nothing but negativity from this, I mean, of course, everybody's experience this year has been different, but there's very few people that I think can say it's been a wonderful year.
Yeah.
Because, we've all been basically shut in, and whatever we've been able to do has been very minimal. So any way we can find any sort of positivity in the midst of all of this, then you're fucking crushing it. Any sort of positivity you can find, then you're doing.
Yeah, everyone's like,
Doing good
2020 was a
stuff.
shitty year. I was like, I produced a bunch of killer fucking Borneos, man. I don't
Yeah,
know.
right. You're like, I'm
2020 was
doing all
pretty
right,
good, man.
Yeah.
There were definitely
Yeah.
some huge milestones, some stuff that I was just like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, producing babies from babies that I hatched out.
There's
That's
nothing like that,
freaking
dude.
awesome, man.
That
That's
is
so
such the
cool.
coolest freaking feeling,
So
man.
cool.
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite things ever. Yeah, damn. I'm excited about that now. I've got that retic in the other room that's ovulated. She's been hugging the heat really hard.
Super Tiger.
OGS.
Orange Goes Straight.
Oh yeah, I'm psyched about that. She's hatched her
Wait, what did you breed her to?
platinum marble.
Ooh.
So marble OGS stuff. I'm pretty stoked about.
Platinum Marble Head OGS. Platinum Marble Tiger.
Tiger
Head
OGS. Yep, head OGS. Yep, everything Tiger in there. So,
I
bam!
love
I'm
tigers.
actually very excited about that. So, now
So wait, you said holdbacks?
just one.
Just 4.
Just no.
2.2.
No.
Just in case.
No. Not on that. No, I don't want to have a million retics. Sorry, I don't. It's not my shtick.
Okay.
Not for me, bud. I got 5 right now. That one holdback will make 6, and I'm good with that. The only other holdback that'll happen for me is when I produce visual Tiger Marble OGS, and then the only other project for me on that is going down the double het OGS caramel road. So
That's gonna be a silly looking
see,
snake.
I don't have the desire to make a gajillion retics. It's just not for me. But I do have things I want to see,
Yeah.
and nobody's really doing it, so I want to try to do it. So that's that for me. When it comes to that, same thing with the berms, dude. That was another thing that I got into in 2021 that Rob was very disappointed
Don't
in me
you put
about.
your arms around me
It's
right
okay.
now.
It's okay, Rob. It's okay.
It's not okay.
It's okay. But like that's a project where I'm like, I just want to see Caramel Labs, and I know people will already be doing it before I do because I'm already seeing breedings of people doing lab to caramel stuff. But it's a project that I'm like, you know what? I want to see it, and no, I don't want to pay $8,500 for one when they first hatch. I want to pay X amount for these as babies, raise them up, do the whole shebang. I like this.
Yeah.
Like I like reptiles. I like doing this, so I'm okay with doing this. Produce the double hets, raise up the double hets, and blah blah blah, and I'm good to go. I'm fine with that. That makes me happy. And then I don't ever have to do it again. Ball pythons, on the other hand, though,
Yeah.
just breed ball pythons forever and
Oh,
ever and
boy.
ever and ever.
Oh, boy.
Just like corn snakes.
I'm really curious to see if I end up breeding corn snakes and see what happens with those, because I mean I think they're cool.
You're
I've
gonna
helped.
breed corn snakes, dude.
I know I've helped people breed corn snakes before.
They're very
and
easy.
They're super easy, but like I said, I've never kept corn snakes before. This is my first time. I just never really had the desire to keep them.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And now, look at you now,
yeah.
making changes.
I don't know what that sound was. I'm sorry, everyone.
I'm not editing that out. Oh, that's great.
Oh, that just happened.
It did. It did, and there's gonna be a lot of people that hear that.
Okay. Well, Jeremy,
Yep, it's about that time,
wrapping
Rob.
things up right
Where
now.
can people find out more about you and your weird sounds?
strictly on Instagram at Rob is creeping a reel on Instagram, and check out YouTube. I've been intending on recording this video of my 2020 babies for like 2 weeks now. I know that I'm 100% going to be busy all day tomorrow, so I won't be able to record it tomorrow. Maybe Friday. I don't know. That's New Year's, right?
It is New Year's Day.
So maybe because everything should be quiet at the building, so maybe I'll do it then.
There you go.
But that's pretty much it. And then don't forget to check out our OnlyFans Reptile Talk.
That's right.
I've been posting up some of my secret project pictures on there.
It's true.
I'm super pumped about it. Actually, you know what? I've got some other animals I haven't posted from that project that I have to post on there because they're cool.
There you go. And Rob finally gave me the login.
Login, so Jeremy can post stuff.
I can
now.
post some stuff now.
And where should people find you if they want to see more of the stuff that you're doing?
This stuff. People can find me over on Instagram at BrassmanReptiles, YouTube at BrassmanReptiles, and Twitter at BrassmanRep. And then, of course, you can check us out, Reptile Talk on OnlyFans and Reptile.talk on Instagram as well.
Yes. Thank you, everyone who's helped support us through this year. We appreciate it so much.
Yes.
We got some cool stuff planned for the future, and thank you guys for sticking with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for following us on Instagram, checking everything out. We'll see you guys next time.
That's it. Happy New Year.
Yeah.